the demons out. Go away. Thoughts. Be gone. We don't need you. Hello and welcome to episode 107 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
I'm Jeff Mayo.
And Jeff, the demons are gone.
The demons are gone.
Maybe I'll just leave that in there because it was really funny. Jeff, how are you doing this fine freaking Tuesday? Freaking Tuesday. How you doing?
Been better, Darby.
Yeah?
Bands canceled for Prog Power.
Yeah.
Tom Holland's out of the MCU, maybe. That's the major bummer.
Yeah.
For universally.
The
Prog Power is a personal bummer.
A lot of people
Me and about another 1,000 people, and that's it.
A lot of people are like, is this a game? Is this some game star? No, it's kind of insane. We are just like literally like an hour or two whatever removed from that news about Spider-Man, Tom Holland, and everything. And I mean, I still do think that like this will be resolved eventually. But I mean, like they have been trying to come to a deal for a while now. It sounds like. But.
Yeah, it sounds like we're all quick to blame Sony. I think that's fair, but it sounds like Disney's trying to maybe ask for a lot of money.
Yeah. Which, in some ways, like, it is their universe that's kind of making Spider-Man more relevant again, but also, I don't know.
They got enough money.
Yeah, they do.
Let's start to get a little bigger chunk of the pie just to make this happen.
I hope so. God, I hope so. But then that also gets to, like, is Disney, like, scared to push Spider-Man that far because they know that Spider-Man movies they're always going to make less money on, like, than other ones, so the Spider-Man become less relevant in the MCU just because of financial reasons. I mean, it doesn't really seem like they're doing that with the way that they were gearing up with Far From Home.
Yeah, I think it's in the top 10 as far as MCU movies making money. Not too many,
but I'm talking about them, like Disney's percentage of the profits. I'm saying even if it does well, if they're making a far less cut, obviously, than they are with their own movies.
I saw 5% thrown around.
Yeah. Like, if you're making only 5%, you might be like, all right, well, let's make Captain Marvel. Let's try to make her the big thing instead of Spider-Man. I don't know. I mean, this is just hypotheticals, but...
Yeah. Well, the response to that is, since, MCU just makes heroes just popular in general, in all forms of media.
Yeah. And
considering that Disney owns the rights to Spider-Man in all other forms of media. That's kind of a weird investment for their own character to I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird deal. I just wish all the Marvel movie rights and only those went back to Disney.
Yeah.
Like Disney doesn't buy a whole
because this has been a thing ever since like the MCU was starting and there was not the X-Men because of business stuff. It's like just purely just dumb business dealings and just money and everything that's getting in the way with what should be happening. Like these characters should be together. Mm-hmm. And this is almost like the worst case scenario where we get it and it becomes a crucial part of the MCU and then it might be taken away. Because we talk about like what is Sony gonna do if they apparently like, and I'm sorry, this is just movies for a second. Like we're all into this stuff. It's whatever. Like we all talk about like how's this going to be for Sony if they like try to continue these movies with Tom Holland, even though it's not in the MCU or whatever? What does the MCU do? Because like, I'm not going to spoil what it is, but at the end of Far From Home, it's like very clear. It's like, oh shit, Spider-Man, like big things are happening in the MCU universe involving Spider-Man. So then now if he's just gone, then all the rest of the Phase 4 movies are going to be kind of weird. It's like, why did we not? What's going on? What's going on?
I mean, even in the Spider-Man movies, it's like, well, we can't say the name Tony Stark anymore.
Yeah, it'd be a
who's
mess.
Been majorly tied into this Spider-Man since the very beginning.
Oh, it's so crucial to his character. I don't know. It's a whole mess. It's a whole mess.
Well, Darby, speaking of Spider-Man, jingle, jingle, jangle, that's the news jingle.
Hey, Jeff did that. I like that one. I like that.
This comes from Jason Schreier from Kotaku. Sony has purchased a California-based game studio, Insomniac Games, best known for last year's Spider-Man on PS4. Yeah, they are. Insomniac will become an exclusive PlayStation developer, Sony says. Founded in 1994, Insomniac remained independent for 25 years, working largely with Sony on series like Ratchet & Clank and Resistance, but also with other big game companies like Microsoft, which published the colorful open-world game Sunset Overdrive. And Jason Schreier put, unlikely to get a sequel anytime soon.
Yeah. Pour one out.
Let me dream. Insomniac has also worked on several VR games at Oculus, including the upcoming Stormland, currently announced as a Oculus Rift exclusive. Notably, Insomniac's previous VR games have not been released on PlayStation VR. They will soon. Spider-Man, a PS4 exclusive, was the studio's most successful game, selling, and this is new numbers, 13.2 million copies according to Sony's press release today.
Ah, damn.
Yep. Given that fact, this news, and the end of the first game, it is safe to say that a sequel is in the works for PlayStation 5. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
I mean, regardless of
Whatever little doubt there was, this news gets rid of whatever doubt anyone had.
I mean, like, it was going to be the case whether they bought them or not, I'm sure.
I mean, from a Insomniac's point of view, before this acquisition, it's like, well, this made us a lot of money. So
and now, like Insomniac probably, like, can you imagine how much more Insomniac like was sold for now versus what they would have before?
Oh yeah, Spider-Man? I mean, this was a good time for Insomniac just because. Yeah, remember this game that just sold over 10 million at the probably time they were talking about this? Yeah, remember that.
Yeah. And it's like, this is one of those things, like, it is a big deal, but it doesn't necessarily feel like one because a lot of people probably already assumed that they were owned by
Sony. Guest Jacob Harrimal posted in the group text, I thought they were already owned by Sony.
And that's
which
fair.
is fair.
Yeah, fair.
Because and I also see a lot of things on Twitter. I think Imran Khan, who we'll talk about later for less happy reasons. Even said, if I wasn't so inclined to this and this was my job, I probably would have thought Insomniac was owned by Sony, which, again, that is perfectly fair. But this is big news just because now they're completely owned. That means everything they'll work on, these weird VR games they do or Sunset Overdrive stuff, they won't do, like for Microsoft, they won't do that anymore. They'll just make games for Sony. They'll have, I guess, even more backing. They probably already had they probably had as much back as any other first party.
They were about as close as you could get the first party, especially if you think back to, like, you think of Ratchet, Jack, and Sly. Yeah. And the other two are owned by it, but they're not.
Yeah. So I'm hoping this also means we get a sequel to that Ratchet and Clank game a couple years ago.
Yeah. I like.
They have multiple teams, I believe. So.
Yeah, they definitely do because they made like Song of the Deep was theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've definitely made
and
like
the VR games
things.
And Ratchet and Clank's only like 2 years or
2016. I think.
It's like 2 years before Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think that definitely could happen. I think Insomniac's big enough. Obviously, Spider-Man's gonna be the main focus going forward.
Like Jason said, they're probably going to try to get like that God of War and Horizon as close to the PS5 launch as they can.
Yeah,
because all three of them, I can't speak for Horizon personally, but from just what I heard, all set up sequels perfectly and sold a bajillion copies.
Yep.
I mean, they're all 10 plus million. So
yeah.
I think part of the reason this might have happened now, I know that's kind of a question, like, why now necessarily? Because I think between Microsoft going on a buying spree and Google being a thing, Sony was like, okay, we might need to go ahead and lock Insomniac up. And I'm sure that was maybe a thing that, Insomniac used to maybe get some
extra money.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we have some other potential buyers. I'm not saying that they were looking at Insomniac, but
we are now a like 13 million copy selling studio over last game.
I mean, if you're Microsoft and Google or any those two who are trying to get more studios, why wouldn't you at least look at Insomniac?
Yeah, like obviously Insomniac was probably like the easiest get Sony had. Like not like spending money. I'm sure they spend a lot of money, but like as far as Insomniac was not likely to go anywhere anytime soon because they want to work on Spider-Man too. But
yeah, it's kind of like you said, doesn't feel as big a deal, but it is a big deal. Because Insomniac's one who's wanted to stay independent and tried to work with other people, which didn't work out normally. Didn't work out as well as when they did Sony stuff, but now they'll be only working on PlayStation stuff, and they'll have again, that financial backing at all times.
It's a weird trend that seems to be happening a lot in the last like 2 years, 3 years, or whatever, of companies that like have long been independent and kind of pride themselves on independent.
Yeah, Insomniac that way too.
Like Double Fine.
Double Fine, yeah, definitely.
There are definitely some other examples that I just can't.
Obsidian.
Yeah, Obsidian. Yeah, there's examples of that, and they always like, the people say like, we know that it seems weird, but like we really actually this is going to help us a lot and it's really good. I just hope that we don't start seeing some of these stories like break the other way, where like almost like a Bungie situation where they hated the fact that they were owned by Activision very shortly after the fact, And not many companies are big enough as big as Bungie, who can afford to be like, deuces, we're gonna buy out Destiny from Activision and leave.
Yeah, I know some people definitely had worries when if Stadia and Double Fine were bought by Microsoft, which is fair. I have not seen that at all whatsoever.
No, you just
because it's such a weird situation where you have so many people like, oh, they weren't already owned, and there were so many exclusive games anyway.
Yeah, Insomniac doesn't fit the bill quite as much as some of the other ones, but like Double Fine, you worry that like right now Microsoft is super content to probably let them go do their goofy they're like Psychonauts, like stuff that's not going to be big sellers.
Oh yeah, something
that's what they want to do.
Surprisingly, I didn't necessarily expect this. I've looked at a couple of reviews. Apparently, Rad's actually good. Like, it's been reviewing well.
I think it's just not my game, but like I've seen it, and like it looked fine. It's just not my type of thing. So, but what I was gonna say is like right now, Microsoft is that company that will do that, but in 10 years, will they be a completely different company? Because like Sony used to be a completely different company 10 years ago, and so was Microsoft. And like 10 years from now, is Double Fine feel like they're in a chokehold? Like that these things can always break bad because big businesses like this will do whatever is best for their bottom line. And right now, kind of having a good public persona is good for Xbox's bottom line in a weird way. But yeah,
I think hopefully, and this is something we'll definitely talk about as we kind of just see it unfold the next couple of years with Microsoft and stuff. I feel like hopefully, especially with Phil Spencer at the helm, that they'll still like make Double Fine, make those weird games because they're putting, and we'll talk about later, so much into Game Pass. And having those weird games just helps makes that catalog just look better and more unique and varied.
It absolutely does. I think right now there's really no point to be skeptical, but I'm just always skeptical of these companies because they're never going to be good guys. They're not good guys. They're companies.
Something that's, I guess, potentially a bigger thing as far as kind of weirder to think about. Sony now owns Sunset Overdrive.
Did Insomniac own that? Microsoft?
They did. That was part of the deal. It's like that's why they went to Microsoft.
Probably nothing will come of that, but
probably
it could. Like,
you never know. Yeah, it's one of those things that Microsoft has the publishing rights, so Sony couldn't like release it without Microsoft permission necessarily. But if there were to be a second one, it'd be Sony exclusive.
And
published.
It could. It's just one of those things. Like Sunset Overdrive was already really good, and it didn't sell well. It was like, I don't know if they're gonna feel like really jazzed about reviving that. But I don't know. Like, obviously, I hope that would be really cool. But
it's one of those things. People now will be like asking Sony, Sunset Overdrive.
They just went from Microsoft's door to Sony's door. They started banging on Sony's door stuff.
I don't think people were on Microsoft's door because it wasn't. Because it wasn't technically like they don't own it. So
yeah, I didn't know that. I assumed that Microsoft owned it, but
it was Insomniac. Now it is Sony's.
Interesting. That would be really weird if the sequel is.
It's weird to think about. Like, it's still weird to think about. Like, Psychonauts is now a Microsoft game, like IP.
Yeah,
Banjo and Psychonauts owned by the same. Somehow feels right.
It does kind of feel right. Crossover.
That's two good characters for a Microsoft Smash clone.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting that.
And then you have Senua, and she's like, "Oh, you're broken. So she's like this broken character, and you're in this like a happy fighting game." And then she comes out there. It's like, I have voices in my head. And I hate myself. It's like, okay, I don't know.
And then Raz reads her mind with the voice. It's like,
"Oh no, you poor girl."
And then Banjo's like, "Guh." Okay. Let's move on, Darby.
So sorry.
It's okay. Okay, Darby. Since Gamescom happened, we were promised Avengers video.
And
gameplay video.
We got it.
We did, Darby. They delivered. Now where's Cyberpunk?
And
let's talk about Cyberpunk.
And Final Fantasy 7. Yeah, let's talk about Cyberpunk. Let's just talk about Cyberpunk.
We don't need Final Fantasy 7 footage as much as I need Cyberpunk footage.
I mean, yeah, we did get a lot of Final Fantasy 7 footage.
And odds are, I imagine the demos are the exact same thing, so there wouldn't be anything new anyway.
Yeah, probably not.
But let's talk about that Avengers footage, Darby.
Okay.
It is the exact same footage that the trailer was pretty much made from when they showed it off at E3.
They just showed the stuff that they probably should have shown then.
Yeah, the stuff that was behind closed door at E3 and the stuff that was shown at the same demo that was shown at Comic-Con with the Kamala Khan added on to scenes added on there.
Yeah.
Also, apparently, we guess this will be something we see. Avengers is playable at Gamescom, so we'll get impressions.
Right. Yeah. More impressions, because this is the first time we've
impressions, because...
I mean, we've seen other people...
No, actually playing and see how it feels like impressions.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, so this is the first time we've officially seen gameplay, not like in a webcam footage.
Crappy phone footage.
Yeah, or crappy phone footage, not webcam, phone footage. And I'm not too impressed, Jeff.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest. I mean, it's one of those things that's hard to completely gauge just because you're looking at it and, you haven't felt it or whatever. But it kind of seems like I've seen this before with games that go way too far in trying to be cinematic and everything, to the point where, like, I'm sitting there and I'm watching each one of these characters and I'm thinking about, what am I doing with the controller right now? And it doesn't seem like it would be fun. It really just seems like, even though they have different abilities, every character kind of seemed like the same. Run up to the guy, punch, super, punch, super, jump up in the air, slam down, punch. No one's even like shooting back at them half the time. It just seemed mindless, is how I would describe it. Mm-hmm. Now, did you get the same kind of like feelings?
Yeah, it just...
I mean, it looks good.
Yeah, it looks good, but kind of like you were saying, there are all those enemies that, they're just kind of mowing down. It's like little effort, which is a gameplay demo, so that's one thing, but at the same time, it's...
Yeah, and I think it probably is like the tutorial, very first thing you play in the game, but still...
That doesn't... I know you said this, but I can't remember I now can't remember if you said it, since we started recording. The hits look kind of lifeless. I feel like there's no impact.
And they sound bad. They just sound very...
Yeah.
I mean, I know that it's kind of hard not to sound nitpicky, but like, just when you watch it, it just doesn't look fun.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see the fun.
I mean, it's one... Honestly, and this is just the way, and honestly, the reason we're kind of talking about this, and reason why we have any interest, we wouldn't just go ahead and drop it and not think about it again until, we see sales data or something like that to talk about general game industry stuff. It's because it has the Avengers license is the only reason.
Oh, it's something like, I want to be excited
about this.
We want
to like this so much. Like, we were lucky for that Square Enix cover. We were... obviously more you than me, but that Final Fantasy VII stuff, we were so into that, and that was so good.
But like Avengers, whenever me and you keep talking about, holy shit, 2020 is stacked, like we never bring up Avengers.
It's a month after Cyberpunk.
Yeah, like that should be part of that list that we're going down, but like, and maybe it'll get there, but right now,
I don't think it breaks my top 10 for exciting games.
Not much that I'm seeing there that excites me. And like I was talking to Jeff before this, I can kind of see where this would happen with I love the Tomb Raider games, the new Tomb Raider games. I really like I like them a lot. But they are very super cinematic, very like kind of following in Uncharted's footsteps. And there are definitely times where it gets to, you stop and think about, what have I actually done? It's a lot of quick time events, and it's a lot of like, you're not actually doing much. But the thing about the Tomb Raider games is they had awesome puzzles. The puzzles are like, Shadow of the Tomb Raider was almost a puzzle game. I mean, the puzzles are really good. And then like with the combat, it was varied enough. You had different weapons and had different other stuff. It was still very cinematic and like made to feel like a movie, but it kind of broke up the monotony some. I'm worried that this game just doesn't.
I think the break of the monotony thing is supposed to be because you're switching through characters. There's supposed to be a lot of them. But as we honestly, we discussed this as a potential downfall when the game was first kind of revealed, of the fact that there's so many characters that the characters don't stand out that much, or just aren't anything special, which it seems to be that way here. It honestly, looking at it, especially when you think about what they said, the online thing, it looks like it's just a higher budget, more cinematic, like Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah. But Ultimate Alliance kind of seems more fun to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really want to play either of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, because even when you go to Iron Man, it's like, sure, now we're flying and shooting, but it still just seems so simplistic from actual gameplay. Like, there are like sparks flying everywhere and everything looks amazing, but then you look at Iron Man, look at what he's doing. It's like a little bit left, a little bit right, a little bit left, a little bit right, pow 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 pow, like moving the cursor just a little bit over, and then
then you get to the point when you're fighting like on the ground and not just kind of doing scripted flying thing. You're doing basic punches and shooting
just like Thor was just a
and you're shooting some laser things, but they honestly don't seem to pack that much a punch as much as, like, let's say later Black Widow shoots her gun, which doesn't do much, kind of like that. He has one giant laser, maybe it's like, oh, overkill. And that's about it. And as far as the flying thing, especially since this supposed to come out beforehand, I feel like what's gonna potentially make that worse is the Iron Man VR game's gonna come out.
Yeah.
And that just gonna feel a lot more awesome.
Yeah.
Because, well, just from the sounds of it, that VR game seems to be good for people playing it. So.
Which is kind of crazy to me because it did not look good. But that's a story for another day, though. But yeah, I don't know. It was just a bad show. I haven't really seen. I imagine most people feel the same way we do.
From what I've seen, yeah, there are more people that are kind of more optimistic about it. But
I mean, do you think this is going to be a game that sells bananas regardless?
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure.
And it's going to be let's say we're 100% white. We feel the same way. We somehow get our hands on it when we feel the same way. We're doing it or whatever. And we're right. There's still going to be people like kind of deal with a lot of these games that may not be received. So like, oh, it wasn't that bad. And everyone's just, everyone's talking crazy and all that.
Yeah.
That's what would happen if, we're us and everyone who's kind of thinking the same thing about us.
I'm sure a lot of people would get this and enjoy it. It's just definitely doesn't seem like my type of game. It's just way too cinematic. I mean, that can be a killer for a lot of games.
Here's the thing that's so weird to me, though. They keep on showing the cinematic stuff, but then at the end you see betas, first on PlayStation 4, and they keep on talking about the online stuff, but they don't really go into detail or don't show it. And the online things seem to be at odds with each other just from hearing about it.
Oh yeah, they seem super ashamed almost of the online aspect of this game, because it really does feel like they were making an online kind of Avengers game, and then they see everyone getting mad about a bunch of games as service stuff. So now they're kind of trying to appeal to the single player people by packaging it like a single player game, even though it's still going to have this other stuff. So if you weren't someone who followed all this, you would look at this and think, yeah, it's like Spider-Man PS4. It's something. It's like that.
You just switch through the characters or whatever. I kind of just wish, as far as my own personal taste goes, it's only single player. They focus on that whole story thing. And then with that, they pick out the 5 Avengers they have, maybe add one more or something, 1 or 2 more. Focus on making their movesets really varied and fun. Yeah. And that's it, because we already know we're getting Miss Marvel as a character, because they show her, getting her powers in here. And they already hinted at Ant-Man. Mm-hmm. We're probably going to get more. They're going to add more as DLC. Yeah. Odds are they're not going to feel that much different, especially considering it's Ant-Man and Miss Marvel. What they're probably going to do is, like Miss Marvel, her basic thing is her fists get bigger when you punch sometimes and all that kind of stuff. Ant-Man, he shrinks and
comes back up.
Yeah, and stuff like that. It's probably going to be really simple. And yeah, the character choices we see so far don't give me hope, because they're different from, the powers are different, but with the gameplay we've seen, they don't add variety to it. No. And most is like, oh, this person has more long range than this one.
Yeah, but even that didn't really seem to factor in that much. It was just, it's kind of a bummer. And especially if they do start going for quantity of characters, then it's just going to end up,
because it's probably they're planning on doing it for years.
Worse and worse. Yeah.
And then it's a weird thing of they're talking about making missions suited for certain characters, but also be playable with all characters. So
yeah. Especially if you just look at this one, it's cinematic going from one character to the other. So you wouldn't think that this is a game where you and your buddy are going on this. But
it's weird that you're thinking, you're worried about the cinematics. My thinking is, without the cinematics, this would be even more boring than it looks.
Well, it just seems like it's one of those games that the cinematics have completely overtaken the game design, where they made the game with thinking what would look cool in cinematic first, and then gameplay and fun second, which should not be the case.
Yeah, and then again, the fact with the online thing is, then when you do those missions, there will be the cinematic stuff. So it'll just be the gameplay that was made with cinematics in mind, but without the cinematic stuff.
So this is not indicative of the final game, apparently, if that's the case. Like, I don't know.
Sad.
I really wish we weren't.
But Dari, you know what's not sad?
Japanese games. All Japanese games are great. There's
Necropart Game of the Year.
There's never been a bad Japanese game.
Yeah. Okay, so this will make Jacob very happy. We're getting a bunch of Yakuza remasters.
Yakuza just keeps coming.
I think there's also a physical release for that comes all this stuff packaged together. Yakuza 3 out now. Yakuza 4 on October 22nd, and Yakuza 5 on February 2020. All 1080p, 60 frames per second.
So, have all of the Yakuza games been redone / remastered at this point? Is this it? Is this the last one?
And based on my knowledge, after all this, we should have them all here. Wait, do we all have them here anyway? Yeah.
I don't know about. I don't know.
Well, let me put it this way: I think they will all be on PS4 and PC.
They're
and
all
stuff.
like readily accessible.
They're all readily accessible to play, and they're all on one system,
which is awesome. I mean, it's kind of crazy the amount of work that the Yakuza team has put to be like, we're gonna like aggressively make. Yakuza.
And there's more stuff to do with these like remasters and stuff. I think that's added on here, but I didn't go for them because we wouldn't understand and all that. The people who really care know, and I've already read that stuff.
So are these like, weren't like the Kwame games and stuff like, weren't those like kind of sort of remakes? I mean, didn't they go,
based on my understanding, Jacob, correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah, Jacob, please. We'll talk about it next week.
I'm pretty sure Kwame, more remakey, and these remasters are remasters.
Yeah, so these are more just traditional, normal remasters.
Yeah.
But still, like, you have a good way of playing pretty much the entire series.
I kind of like it. I don't know the exact details because I know there's a physical edition with all these in there, and they're spread out. But I kind of, in a way, like that because we know we're all getting them. The farthest away is in February, which is not too far off. Mm-hmm. But then this gives you time to play them one by one. If you're already played Kwame 2, you can play 3 today, and you have time to beat that before 4, and then...
Yeah,
you don't have to feel that rush.
If you just wanted to, like, you can make a year of playing the Yakuza series if you want. You could just be like, I'm just gonna for the next like 9 months, I'm just gonna play Yakuza.
Yeah, I think the physical edition may come with some nice stuff.
Yeah. That's cool. It feels good. Yakuza's in a good place. I hope Judgment's selling in America.
Yeah.
It
didn't make it to NBD Top 20.
Yeah, sucks. But it doesn't seem to be slowing them down. I mean, like, they're not very high budget. They can't be very high budget games. Just looking at
a lot of reused assets.
Yeah, which I mean, like, hey, that's.
Yeah, I'm not saying that as a disparaging way.
If you're gonna if it keeps your series afloat and your fans are happy, then
yeah,
that's good. That means you don't have to sell and create insane amounts. That's smart.
Yep. Okay, Dario, time for more sad.
Oh boy, let's get sad again.
Okay, give me a
Can't be as sad as last week's. It's just a lot of sad.
Yeah. Okay, this comes from Jason Schreier from Kotaku. The struggling retail chain GameStop laid off over 100 employees today, both at its corporate headquarters in Grapevine, Texas, and at other offices, including its subsidiary Gameinformer magazine in Minnesota, where nearly half the editorial staff lost their jobs in a surprise cut. Quote, as part of the previously announced GameStop reboot initiative to transform our business for the future and improve our financial performance, we can confirm our workforce reduction was implemented, impacting more than 120 corporate staff positions, representing approximately 14% of our total associate base at our company headquarters, as well as some other offices. End quote. A GameStop spokesperson told Kotaku in a statement. Quote, while these changes are difficult, they were necessary to reduce costs and better align the organization with our efforts to optimize the business to meet our future objectives and success factors. We recognize that this is a difficult day for our company, and particularly for those associates impacted. We appreciate the dedication and service to GameStop and are committed to supporting them during this time of transition, end quote. This news comes just a few weeks after GameStop laid off dozens of regional managers following a brutal year that saw the company try to stop trying to sell itself. GameStop stock has plummeted over the past few years as the retailer continues to struggle to stay afloat in a world where digital distribution is going to dominate gaming. The layoffs blindsided staff at Gameinformer today. 7 of the popular magazine's editors announced on Twitter this afternoon that they had been laid off, including one who said he was on vacation. And then he adds in there, per Game Informer's masthead, the magazine has 19 full-time editorial staff. Let's see. Quote, I am trying to get things right with my people, editor-in-chief Andy McNara wrote on Twitter. We love Game Informer, its people, and its readers more than any corporation could, and I will address all the issues when I can, but for now, I need to focus on my Game Informer family. End quote.
Yep. Gaming media is just a volatile business, and it does feel like when people get laid off, or it seems like companies will just go and go and go until suddenly they drop everyone their health insurance. Imran Khan said.
I am. So I was referring to Imran Khan's one of the ones who we used a lot of articles for on this podcast. One of the ones who lost his job, and I mentioned that he doesn't have his health insurance pretty much gone immediately, and not. He was hoping it'd be still be there till the end of the month, but
just immediately gone. It seems like I think there's just so many sites that legitimately just run on they have very, very little wiggle room. I think they're always kind of in some state of, I don't know, desperation, or just there's just a very thin line, and if things start going wrong, then they have to drop, which is sad, kind of a problem with the industry, but also, I don't know, it's just writing for games. There's not a lot of people that do it, and it's not a lot of people that can do it for money, and this is things that can happen. But as one thing, Imran Khan was talking about unionizing your workforce. That's one thing you could do.
Yeah.
But it feels bad.
Yeah, well, I think I don't bring it up every time there's a GameStop doom and gloom story because there are too many of them. They all pretty much the same thing.
There are quite a few.
Yeah. But it looks like GameStop is going down the pooper completely. Game Informer may not be a thing much longer.
Yeah.
Which sucks because those monthly, cover stories are good.
Yeah. To be fair, I have not read Game Informer, the actual magazine, and I don't even read the site all that much, but I remember really enjoying it before, and especially I just know Imran Khan's work the most because he was one of the few I actually did keep up with. Mm-hmm. And he was one of the Jason Schreier-esque journalists where it's he's an actual bona fide journalist, and he was very, very good at what he did.
I heard a lot of people say the Game Informer podcast is really good.
Yeah. It's a shame because they're definitely one of the ones I grew up on. I grew up on reading Game Informer, actually taking that to school, and that was a cool thing, And the fact they've kept it going for so long and tried to go more online focused, which is smart, but obviously and I feel like we're probably going to see this type of story more with other sites. I really highly doubt Game Informer is an isolated case where it's they're doing bad, And part of it is GameStop is an entire brand. They're owned by GameStop, which is probably not a good company to be owned by right now.
No. Sometimes I forget about that.
Yeah. That's why every time you go to GameStop, they're like, hey, do you want to up your Game Informer? Do you want to subscribe to Game Informer? Please just take it, please.
Tell your friends.
Please. Yeah, I think absolutely there's going to be by the time we have kids and stuff, I don't know if GameStop's going to be around, or at least it's going to be very limited locations, Blockbuster. There's 2 Blockbusters in the world.
It's going to be Funko Stop.
Yeah, probably. it's just an entire imagine 4 walls of those beady eyes staring down at you, and that's all it is. Just all the way to the ceiling. Yes, they're on the ceiling too.
Yeah,
they're hanging on nooses, staring at you.
And then
the guy behind the counter is a Funko Pop.
Yep.
Jeff.
I have the Funko overlords.
They're gonna take over.
Real talk. We hope everyone who lost jobs can land on their feet. I have seen a bunch of people, obviously, when this stuff happens, making, raising awareness. All these people lost their jobs and just telling people, hey, this person's great with so-and-so, this is what they did, this is what they're good at.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you obviously hope that everyone can find somewhere, but obviously probably not everyone will, and that sucks. It's not good.
Nope.
But can't really say anything other than it's not good. But yeah. So if anyone randomly stumbled on our podcast and you're hiring, go look at those people.
Yeah. Okay, Derek, ready to talk about all the Gamescom conferences?
All the Gamescom. There's a bunch of stuff. Everyone decided to do their things, even if it wasn't directly tied to Gamescom. It really is,
Yeah.
It's one
Everyone had presentations, but not really. But
yeah.
So there were 4 presentations. Yesterday, as of the recording on Monday.
Yeah. So we're gonna kind of there's a little too much in here to just go over absolutely everything. We'll go over most of it, but I don't want to go bullet point. I want to more just talk about some of the things that I want to. I mean, we can freeform if you see something you want to talk about. We'll go for it.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go as far as the order of us talking about the presentations. Just go in the order that they premiered.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start with Nintendo Indie World.
It's not the order I watched them in. I watched them after the fact. I think the Nintendo one was actually the last thing I watched. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm gonna talk about Nintendo Indie World, which I was able to actually watch before getting work, which is nice.
Yeah.
See what?
Overall, I like the format of this one really well. It was 20 minutes, and I like the little cute interstitials and stuff.
Yep.
It was good.
And lots of games, Darby. Lots of games. So yeah, we're not gonna talk about all of them, but let's get in there. First one, I guess we have highlighted is Eastward. I'm forgetting which one that is at the top of my head. What is it, Darby? You're the one who highlighted it.
Oh wait, no, that's not the acid trip one. That's
Earth Knight.
Earth Knight. Let me just
shame on you, Darby. I'll go to the next one. You can come back. The one I have.
Oh wait, this is the Chucklefish game. That was it was really cool art style. It was kind of Stardew Valley which Chucklefish publishes, but it was a cool thing. You're in a town and you're fighting people. It's a 2D thing, but it looked I think the reason I highlight is just the animation and stuff looked so cool to me. 'Cause it was 2D, but the models move. It's not really sprites. It's almost like a Studio Ghibli almost type animation, in a way, but it's still top down. It was cool. I think it looked interesting.
What I have in here is Europa. The one with the gravity thing going on when you're the big-headed goofball and you're walking and gravity changes and all walking on walls and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And there's paint for some reason.
Yeah, it almost looked like a Dreams game to me.
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a bad way. It just kind of almost looked like a Dreams.
Well, I heard it gave people motion sickness.
Really? Is it VR or something, or just
no? No. Just in the presentation, it gave people motion sickness. Just watching it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. It's pretty extreme.
And first shadow drop of the day, Darby, and not the last.
No.
Super Ho.
You gotta explain Super Ho.
There's a typo. It's super hot. Super Hot is coming to the Switch
and available now, which is super cool.
Super Hot's awesome.
Yeah, it was.
I need to play the regular version.
Yeah, it's just me and you have both said. It's I kind of can't imagine it because me and Jeff have only played it in VR, and it just seems like it would be underwhelming not in VR. But it's from what I hear, there's a lot more content in the non-VR version, so it's probably actually better. We're just
we're nerds.
We're just ignorant.
Yep.
Ignorant boys. Yeah. Next one we have is Earth Knight.
You skipped one because I
don't have.
And what from me and a lot of people was a highlight, The Tourist.
Yeah.
It's the very blocky one that got really crazy, and it looks awesome.
Okay, I was about to ask why did this one stand out, because I didn't think it looked like anything that special. But
art style is really cool. Apparently, I don't really know the developer, but people were hyped when that name came up, and I don't know, just the music and everything, just the way it looked and everything that was going on looked really cool. It was kind of hybrid to multiple games because you're going and stuff like the town, going to our arcade.
It looked very Minecraft-y,
the art not
style.
Exactly Minecraft. It was you're going into dungeons and you're fighting these monster things, and it's the way you were fighting is cool, and you're just going through the town. You can go to an arcade and it's an F-Zero type game. You can play.
Okay, yeah, I think I kind of started to zone out, but cool, yeah.
A lot of people are hyped for that one. You're saying Earth Knight. Oh yeah, I should probably say when these things were coming out. Eastward 2020 Europa Winter 2019. Super hot now. Taurus in November. Earth Night, which is 2019.
Yeah, this one just had my attention right from the start, just because of how weird and different the art style was. Like I'm trying to think of what it reminded me of, because it's like, I don't know, it was kind of like just the models almost look like a 90s, like, I don't know, like an advert. Like you just have to look at it. It didn't look like a normal video game art, but it looked really cool. And just as that trailer went on, it just got like crazier and more insane.
Kind of endless runnery.
Yeah. But definitely, like, I don't know, something about it looks like a lot more fun than I would have thought it would. You know, and I'm kind of hoping it's a short, maybe like cheaper game that you can kind of just.
I'm sure it is.
Get through and everything, and yeah, the art style is just really, really, really cool. So I don't know, I'm like, it had my interest. I was like impressed with that trailer.
Another shadow drop. We got the Hotline Miami collection. So it's it's a shadow drop, so it's out now. One of those things like Hotline Miami wasn't already on Switch. Weird.
Should have been. It's perfect for Switch.
Yep.
Yeah, it's that those games need to be on Switch.
Yeah. Then a montage started, had a bunch of games. Highlights from that: Spiritfarer, which was in the Microsoft presentation.
Well, I was about to say, I guess that's where I'm getting it, but no, because it isn't coming to Game Pass.
Yes.
Yeah. If it
I
wasn't
don't
for
know
that, this is where I would be getting it.
Yeah. It's coming out. They said spring 2020. I don't know if that's new information or not.
I don't think we had a date from before, but I might be wrong.
I know we had a 2020, but I didn't know we had a spring part of it. Not surprising, but cool.
Cool. Another spring 2020 game that I'm interested in.
Woo! And you don't have to pay any more for it.
Yeah. At least this one is probably short.
Probably.
If you don't remember, this is the one that like played right after Cyberpunk, so a lot of people like we kind of like joked about like, oh, this poor game, but I've gone back and watched that trailer multiple times. Cause I just
so good.
Art style looks so adorable and awesome, but it also seems like the story like we're gonna tear up, like we're gonna cry like playing this game. Yeah. It looks really, really good. So and I think Switch is gonna be the better. Like, it's probably gonna sell best on Switch.
Next game I've highlighted, Best Friends Forever, which comes out on Valentine's Day. It's like a weird dating sim dog taking care of simulator thing. Yeah. The dog seems like a boss. I'm sure that game is going to win the hearts of millions.
Sure. Well, millions?
Of course.
Millions.
Millions when someone like Funhouse inevitably does a Let's Play of it.
Okay.
Fair, they won't buy enough. But the true game that will win the hearts of millions, Fogs.
Oh, yeah, wait.
Cat dog.
Yeah.
But it's dog.
Yeah. As soon as I saw this, I thought, like, this is like a party game. Like, this is a game that me and Jeff need to play. Maybe on stream, because it looks,
I think we need to look into this game, Darby. Comes out early.
I mean, some of the, like, platforming, like, actually looked cool. Like, it looked really, I was surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like it'll be fun.
And Cat Dog.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like Cat Dog?
But
is there going to be a cat dog reference in this game?
Maybe. That little blue rat thing is going to show up.
Yeah.
He gives you a quest. It was a rat, right? But it was
I think he's a rat. He's really freaky looking, though.
Yeah, he's wearing clothes like a normal person. It's weird.
It was weird. That was a weird-ass show.
It was. You know what else was weird? What the Golf.
What the Golf is pretty weird. Yep. Also looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Explain what the Golf is.
Well, it's like golfing, but you never actually hit the golf ball. They start out when it looks like someone's about to, hit the ball for the first time. But when you do it, the golfer actually goes flying, and you keep on hitting it. It doesn't really stop. You just pretty much keep on hitting the ball. Well, I think it just depends on the level, because one of the levels is you're hitting a soccer ball. And you got a bunch of soccer players coming trying to kick the ball, but you're always trying to go for the hole. And and the ball is a whole bunch of different things. I think one of them might have been a truck and a bunch of stuff.
One was like a lamp and a chair.
Yeah, and
it reminds me of that Adult Swim pool game.
Yeah,
that I never played, but it looked fun.
Yeah, so I think I've seen this game around a little bit. I can't remember where. I guess that's the first time it's announced for Switch. Perfect game for the Switch, like any of these.
Yeah. No. It looks fun. Hope it's cheap.
I feel like most of these games are going to.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
So we'll about to get the last game. A lot of good games in here. But the big thing that wasn't too surprising because, leaks and all that stuff. Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition coming September 27th to Switch.
No more excuses. Play this beautiful game.
No more excuses. Ori and Smash.
Ori and Smash.
It can happen now.
It could happen.
It could.
Like I said, Shovel Knight would be shaking his head in the background. But I like Ori more. So Ori and Smash. No, this we figured this was going to happen. We thought this was going to happen before Cuphead. But it happened after.
We were wrong.
Not too long after. And this is going to be amazing for this game. And probably amazing for Will of the Wisps. Because a lot more people are probably going to play this now. Mm-hmm. And I am so happy for them. And
it's going to sell well. I mean, Cuphead's selling crazy on there. And I know they're different games and all that, but both these games are the kind of games that the Nintendo audience eats up. They ate Cuphead up. I have no reason to believe they won't do the same with Ori.
Nope. Like I would have preferred to have the Switch wasn't a thing when I played this game.
Oh, also very important to note that one of the developers for post on etc. is going to be 60 frames per second.
Nice.
In handheld and docked mode.
Nice.
Which is very important for this game.
Oh yeah. I mean, really, this game is beautiful. Like, you need to play this game. Like, even if you're not too into Metroidvanias, like, I think this game just speaks for itself in the way it controls. It just feels so good, and it's like and I mean, give credit to Xbox again. Both Cuphead and Ori to be coming over to Switch this year. It's just it is pretty unprecedented.
Well, and Banjo and Smash.
Yeah. All of those things are very unprecedented.
Yep. It sounds like if it was completely up to Phil Spencer, he just kind of put all their games on everything.
And who knows, that might happen next gen.
Yeah.
Like, we don't, I mean, aside, maybe they'll, keep some of their core ones, like Gears and Halo, but, they've even, didn't they pretty much straight up say before that, Outer Wilds, if Outer Wilds had sequels or whatever, it would be on multi-platform.
Yeah, they mentioned that could be a thing, yeah.
Other things. They talked about putting their games on multiple platforms. I mean, the day that they start putting games on PlayStation, that's when you know that it's okay, a new era has begun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Outer Wilds is coming on Switch as well. I forgot for a second.
Yep.
That's not completely up to Microsoft at the moment, but same thing kind of still press.
It is weird how Xbox and Switch are just starting to share more and more and more.
Darby, in a Nintendo presentation, we saw Microsoft Game Studios. The words Microsoft Game Studios.
Yeah, and that just would never happen in a Sony thing. It's just a weird state we're at,
we're in a world where I saw Ori get announced for the Switch, and I wasn't necessarily yay, finally.
Yeah, it's as soon as you saw the tree, it's okay, yep. Here we go.
Yeah, especially since there are kind of leaks and rumors. I kind of figured it was coming when this ended. When I was okay, it's Ori.
Well,
yep, it's Ori.
I'll say that's a little underselling it. When I saw the tree, I did get goosebumps just because this game's music and everything is that good.
It's true.
I mean, as soon as that opening theme starts playing, it just gets me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you think Ori Will and the Wisps will be on the Switch?
I think so.
Do you think immediately, or do you think it'll be later on?
Part of me does not think necessarily immediately, because I felt like they might have said so.
And they've already delayed it so many times. They probably just want to get it done on the platform they have it on.
Yeah, I think they would have said so if they may not have said day and date. They might have put the day, but I feel like if they had plans to do it at least kind of close immediately, they would have said Ori Will of the Wisps at the end 2020.
Yeah, it might be a little later, but yeah.
But I do think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I do too. 100%.
Because why wouldn't it? Unless this sells abysmal, which I don't think it is.
No.
Okay, Darby, speaking of Xbox, we had an Inside Xbox.
We did.
And it was an Inside Xbox. Let's get into some things.
It was Inside Xbox. It was kind of underwhelming and didn't really need to spend that much of my time watching it. But there were some cool things.
Okay, let's get into some of it. I started with a Blair Witch trailer. Looked pretty cool. Looked creepy.
Mm-hmm. Which now I'm getting on Game Pass, which is cool. I'm a lot more likely to try it out now.
Yeah. I think we should, Darby. A lot of games now. Speaking of Game Pass, I got some Game Pass announcements, Darby. They got a new list of Game Pass games. I don't have the dates for when they came out, but who cares? You can look that up if you want to. Sorry. Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Which this has me excited, because I was always interested in this game. It's a RPG, but it's like supposed to be a super real, like historical RPG. It's like it's not fantasy or anything. It like takes place in a historical time and like accurate historical like whatever armor and stuff for everyone. And I mean it's not like The Witcher. I mean it's a little more low budget than that. You can tell just by looking at it, but I was always interested in it, just not $60 interested in it. But now,
this one is PC, so yeah. Cool. Also coming, I think PC only out of the Game Pass stuff, Ape Out, which I am excited for because I kind of wanted when it came out because it looks, dumb fun.
Oh yeah.
Now I feel good that I didn't, go ahead and I can just play it.
Yeah.
Bard's Tale 4. I keep on forgetting what Bard's Tale is. I know I see the name everywhere. Maybe the other Bard's Tales are on there. Probably something I'll never get to.
Just start with 4.
Yeah. Something I think you also said you were excited for. Age of Empires Definitive Edition.
Yeah. Especially with seeing the whatever.
Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition.
Yeah.
Comes up November 14th, was also announced there.
Yeah. But so I don't know if I would try this one. I don't know if I wouldn't just do the other one. But if this is free, I might see if I like Age of Empires. Like you know.
Here's the thing. I think I gotta imagine Age of Empires 2 is also gonna be on there. So on Game Pass. So
I might just at least give this a shot because it's a very influential game and seems like a game.
Not like it hurts.
Nope.
Cost you
That's the great thing about the Game Pass. If you don't like a game, oh well.
Yep.
You didn't spend anything.
Stellaris, the console version, which apparently the developer said this was just announced for console, but the developer did say they are working for it to come to PC.
Cool.
The PC game
I hope this next one works to come to PC.
And the final one, the Biggin, which was unfortunately leaked by Xbox, so can only blame themselves. Devil May Cry 5 Darby. Only about 5 months after release.
It's pretty,
and it's on there right now.
Damn big,
and I'm going to play it.
I feel like they had to have paid a decent amount for that.
I feel like some people brought up maybe Devil May Cry didn't sell that well. It sounds more like maybe it didn't sell as well on Xbox. Maybe I don't know, or maybe they just had this plan all along because they had the Microsoft had the marketing rights for Devil May Cry, so it may have been a thing they plan on this no matter how well it sold or something. I don't know.
Maybe
not like these deals are that's as simple as we would think. But this is exciting. Certainly. It's just one of those games that they think they're going all in on Game Pass. And and this makes me... Yeah.
Oh, and 100% from here on out, the Xbox Game Pass ads are going to be... DMC5 is going to be one of the big things.
This further cements my belief and just kind of unless I really, really want a game or... it's something that just not coming to Xbox, I should probably just wait to see if it comes to Game Pass.
That is the only bad side of Xbox Game Pass is it makes you very gun shy. It's I don't know. And it makes you feel bad when you buy something.
Yeah, but kind of, I feel like in a strange way, I'm getting the feel of what games could be on Game Pass and which games.
You're starting to read.
Yeah. Point is, I should probably hold off on most indie games unless I really, really want them. So those seem to be...
They do seem to go there quite often.
Which is awesome.
I do wish that DMC was on PC, though. But
you can just borrow mine.
Like you said, I could borrow your Xbox. Do you think you're going to jump in on DMC 5 sometime this year?
Yep.
You think this
100%.
Year? Cool.
Yep. I was interested in any way to give it a try because this is a game that's not like the stories that I'm important, and I know the basic, stuff.
You would be fine. You would be fine. But I really need to play it because I loved all the other DMC games. Actually, if you had told me that it's been out this long and I hadn't played it, I'd be like, what? But there's too much Fire Emblem to play.
If all this gets you excited, they also announced the Game Pass Ultimate deal, first 2 months for $2. That's exciting. They just have a whole bunch of deals with that. I can't even keep up what exactly the deals are at this point. They also showed a whole bunch of Western AAA stuff that we usually just don't care about. Again, though I will say the NBA 2K story trailer, it was good.
I saw I actually didn't see the whole thing of that because I started skipping around, but I saw most of it. And yeah, it actually was. It was really well acted.
They put it on Game Pass, maybe I'll give it a shot.
That'd be pretty random, but yeah. Thanks, Game Pass, baby.
Yeah. Okay. Empire of Sin, spring 2020.
Heck
that looks
heck yes.
It wasn't. I remember, I know we've seen this game before. I can't remember where it was announced via the Switch thing, and they now that we know exactly what this is, that wasn't a very good trailer.
Oh no, or I don't know if you remember, but I don't even know if it was on the podcast. It might have been outside of the podcast, but we talked to Jacob about it, and he already knew about this game before, and he told at least me like, no, that like we both agreed like, yeah, that trailer's bad, and he explained what the game actually was. I was like, okay, that sounds cool, and then now seeing,
I forgot, I probably was here. Can't think.
There's too many games. But no, I agree with you. That trailer before it was like, this is cool noir thing, but like what?
It kind of was like Monopoly.
Yeah,
because it does that whole map thing. It's just like this is like a Monopoly.
You can't just show that and not explain it.
Yeah.
But this trailer,
this is like I'm in.
This game looks dope. It's like you're a mob boss, like noir type person, or whatever, and you're like taking over this town.
And it's like XCOM style gameplay.
Right. Yeah. It's like you're moving people around and shooting. It's like XCOM, but it seems like it has so much personality.
Yeah.
Like whenever you're like, you had like someone's like hiding behind like a diner bar and like reaching over and shooting, and that's how they're doing it. And just the music that was playing, like everything about this, just the style, it has like personality as well to describe this game. It's
you
like
know what the worst part of this game is, Darby? It's coming out in spring 2020. I was waiting for day one on Game Pass, but I didn't hear it. They still have time to announce that.
Yeah, they do. But no, I'm all in.
Yeah. Also, if they don't announce for Game Pass, hey, it's on Switch, which will be a good place for that. So
yeah.
Okay. Not really as far as a game thing, but kind of an announcement of something. They're doing it XO19, like they did XO18 last year in London, November 14th through 16th. We'll have an Inside Xbox. All proceeds for the ticket sales will go to charity,
which is very good.
Yeah. But you told me on a completely unrelated thing about this. You're going to be out of town that weekend.
Yeah. So
you
at least won't have me on reactions.
Yeah. So I'll either have to react alone or try to grab Jacob or Will.
I suppose we'll see. When is that?
November 14th through 16th.
Yep.
Don't know when the Inside Xbox is.
I'll be on my way to Texas.
Yep. So we'll see how that goes. I guess last game we're probably going to talk about for this thing, because none of the other stuff interests us, is Greedfall, coming out September 10th. Darby, this game looks cool, and it's coming out in a couple weeks.
How did I never hear about this game?
I was watching, like, this looks so cool.
It looks so good.
I want to bang that tree girl.
But no, everything about this, I honestly kind of forgot that, like, when we were getting ready for this podcast, I was like, honestly, out of everything that we saw at Gamescom, this is what I want to talk about the most.
And it's kind of weird. I didn't think about it until I saw this. Like, like this, Inside Xbox, which is normally not the best, but it also had two of the games that I came out of a lot more interested in than really interested in.
Greedfall went instantly like, I was watching the trailer and I was like, this seems pretty cool. And then they like started going into like the crunchy details. I'm like, this is really, really cool. Like,
I feel like there are a lot of people that kind of felt that way.
I was like, how have I never heard about this? Like, damn, I'm going to have to start paying attention to this game. And it gets to the end. It's like coming out in like 2 weeks. I'm like, well, what? Like
So Dari, kind of talking about how you don't have games for the rest of this year.
I know, that kind of messes it up, because that's probably a long RPG. So yeah, just to explain this for people who like didn't see, like, definitely go watch. There's a bigger trailer that wasn't shown there that you need to go watch.
The companion trailer.
That's the one they showed. There's like a 10-minute one that was shown somewhere else, like that I watched somewhere else. That you should watch, because it's even better than that one. But it's like it definitely there's a certain element to this, and I can't exactly pinpoint why. Like, I think it is made by a smaller studio, and you can kind of tell, like, some of the the models are not like the best, and they're not horrible either. But like, you can kind of tell it's a smaller studio.
It's only $50 on Steam.
Yeah, it's only $50. But the environments are actually like really good, and it is like an RPG-ass RPG.
Yeah,
where it looks super crunchy. Like, there's a bunch of like stat stuff and like equipment customization and everything. It really is driving that home. But it reminded me of like all my favorite RPGs, because like it had the stats and like the very nerdy management of Divinity Original Sin, but then it kind of seems like it has the like weird story twist of kind of Divinity, but also like Witcher. But then like the gameplay reminded me of Fable. and kind of the environments reminded me of Fable, and like it was just like a bunch of different things thrown in there. And then on top of that, it's not just your normal fantasy setting. It's like 17th century.
Yeah.
So people have like guns, and it's like almost like Industrial Revolution in England and everything. But then there's these giant like fantasy monsters. It's like such a unique setting.
Something that's gonna completely stress me out, because they pointed this out with the whole thing. You get these companions that you get throughout, and you can help them, and some of them don't like each other and all that. And there's a whole thing that if you kind of ignore them, they get angry and leave you. I'm like, oh no.
And they just said like if certain things happen in the story and you make certain decisions, it's like they're not just gonna stay with you. It's like
I was like, oh no, that's stressful but cool.
That's so cool though. Like I'm gonna leave it. Like if something happens, I'm just gonna be like, that's what happened in my playthrough.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, like this is definitely one of those things I would have to see reviews.
I agree, yeah.
Because
the wait and see thing.
The trailer was so promising, but it almost worries me. It worries me that it's not going to quite live up to everything, especially since it's a very small team, it seems like. Mm-hmm. But just from looking at it, it's like, this looks like something I could get lost in.
Yeah.
Easily. And I was wondering if you felt the same way. I'm glad to hear.
I saw this, like, I knew I was interested in this, but what was it? Then I just Googled it like right before we started. It's like, oh yeah, this game. It's so good.
I completely missed it. I've gone back and watched the E3 videos and stuff now. Like as soon as I saw that trailer, I'm like, I want to see everything about this game. Yeah, seriously, go look at it. It just looks so unique, and just the things that it seems like they're doing with the story. Like you're all going to colonize this island basically, but there's like 3 different factions that are vying for control, and you can choose any of them. It just seems. It really is like promising, like complete openness as far as like how you're like doing the story.
Sorry, we didn't need any more games.
And then it's almost like a JRPG ass thing with the party members, because it's like you can customize your party and they're like following you around. That's not really, I guess Divinity obviously you have a party, but I don't know. I'm intrigued. I am super intrigued. And I'm glad to hear that I'm not the only one. I thought I was going to come here and just be spastic about this game. No, that was a Darby game. That was a Darby.
No, I'm in it for all the reasons you did, and my worries are kind of the same as you, or my reactions were the same. Like, this looks dope. It's like I can't wait to talk to you about it and follow this game. And then there's like, excuse me.
Wait, September 10th? Like what?
Yeah, so I'm definitely, even if the reviews are stellar, I'm not going to get to this game necessarily anytime soon. But during the last like 2 months of the year, as long as I can get done with the games I already have planned, I should be able to try to maybe fit this game in, hopefully, depending on the length and all that, how other games go. But this kind of made its way to the bottom of, at least the bottom of my list of looking forward to. Like
100%. Honestly, if it wasn't for Fire Emblem, I probably would get this game at launch and play it, because I don't have a whole lot going on right now. But I definitely won't be done with Fire Emblem by then.
You got Control, man.
Control. Yeah.
But also, you said we should definitely wait for reviews for this game and impressions.
100%.
I'm sure. I know. I watched the Easy Allies reaction thing for it. Like in this thing, it seemed like they gained interest in this. Hopefully, one of them. They weren't already.
Just public service announcement. Everyone, rightfully so, seemed kind of confused. Everyone thought that it was an Xbox exclusive. It is not. It is coming to PlayStation and PC. Steam. And there were a lot of people that was like, "Oh, this is Xbox exclusive." No, it's not. Yeah. But there's like nothing better than a meaty like open world RPG like that to like just sink into, and this almost seems like it's gonna scratch a Witcher itch and a Fable itch at the same time for me.
This is a game that again, we need to see reviews and hear impressions on it, because it's made a little worrying that we haven't heard anything really about much of it since. But during E3 there were a lot of games, so we might have heard about it, and just kind of there's just so much.
The thing I watched was like an IGN stream of it, but they were streaming so many games that just completely messed up.
But if this now is dark, this could be like a sleeper hit of the year.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, it's not too surprising that it's gone under the radar for me, because it is a very small studio, it seems like. So it's probably one of the things that it needs the word of mouth. So it needs to come out and be amazing, and then suddenly we'll start hearing all of our podcast people.
But poor game, it's coming out in September, man. September.
Yeah, there are a lot of other things coming out
a couple days before Borderlands 3, which, this conference was the first of 3 that we heard about it.
Yeah, if it came out like this month,
Yeah.
Just around like Astral Chain. Like I think we could talk about Astral Chain and this at the same time, you know. But
there's also Control.
But Borderlands is gonna just
and
dominate the.
Yeah. We're at the point where we're starting next week. Is when it's like, okay, there's just games coming out. Games coming out every week. If it's even though that's the other thing, it's like, yeah, there's just big games.
This is one of those rare times where like an ad completely like I saw that ad and like now I'm going to be keeping up with like every piece of news I can get on this game and like reception and everything because I was instantly interested.
Kind of there's two of those with Empire Sin as well. It's like there's like two things like you got my attention.
Yep.
Got my full attention.
I'm done. Yep.
So based off of that, I say this was a pretty normal inside Xbox presentation. Got some good Game Pass news, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Got some new news for some of the big games.
I think part of it is just because I had watched so much with the Keeley thing and all the other stuff. I was just kind of like, let's just come on. Yeah. Let's just move this along.
Well, Dora, let's get to something that maybe shouldn't have existed, but we're going to talk about some of it, at least some of it anyway. There was a highlight of it, which we will 100% get to. And you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes, but speaking of just games we had already seen before.
Well, the way the Stadia Connect started was showing off a clip of Gods and Monsters, and by clip I mean literally a 5-second thing from the debut trailer. I'm like, why the hell are you showing me this and not showing me new footage? Like, I don't even blame Stadia for this, but it's also like Ubisoft. This game comes out in February. Like, why haven't I seen anything of substance?
Worries me.
It does. And they also saw Watch Dogs Legion, a little bit like a clip of that too. It's just like weird. Because at that point, I knew there was a big substantial trailer when I was watching. So it's like, okay, whatever. Moving on.
But we got there.
Yeah. So, not going through all the games, but games they showed. Cyberpunk 2077, nothing new. Nope. Destroy the Humans, nothing new. Mortal Kombat 11. You would think this game wasn't out yet by the way they talked about it. But they showed nothing new. Super Hot Mind Control release might have been new. That might be new super hot stuff that's coming out, which is cool. They also announced Orcs Must Die 3, which is Stadia exclusive.
So that is exclusive.
That is Stadia exclusive. It's not necessarily my game, but it looks like dumb fun. And I'm going to be honest, the way the whole thing when the orcs were charging and everything did look good.
It did, yeah.
It looked impressive.
Yeah.
And then the bunch of stuff like Samurai Showdown, Farming Simulator, Doom Eternal, Attack on Titans, blah, blah, blah. Borderlands 3, again, because we need more Borderlands. But Darby, before we get to the final thing they showed, we just talk about this general thing. They showed a bunch of games that we all knew about, which is fine. They need to announce games for their service. I get that, but pretty much all this stuff they showed were old trailers. The Borderlands thing was something that's been out for a while, and also some of these games they already announced for Stadia months ago.
Yes. It's almost like Google...
And this was 45 minutes.
It's almost like Google doesn't really understand what these directs are supposed to be. I mean, even if you have problems with like the state of plays, at least it's like new things you're seeing, even if you're not interested in it. Like, this could have been like a blog post.
This could have been a blog post, and they could have shown Orc Must Die and Watch Dogs Legion and Keeley's thing.
Yeah, no, totally. You even like, I mean, I guess they want their like Stadia thing around it, and Watch Dogs Legion probably wouldn't have a Stadia thing around it. But Orcs Must Die, you could have freaking Phil Harrison come out there and be like, Stadia, you should buy Stadia. Speaking of Stadia, here's an exclusive game. Yeah. But no, this was a waste of time. I mean, like I said, like you said, if you're gonna show us all these old games, at least show us new things with it. And I was watching that Cyberpunk, and I was like, that's from the first trailer, that's from the first trailer, that's from the second trailer, that's from the first trailer, that's from the second trailer. What are we doing here? Like, what was the point in any of this?
Yep. Now let's get to that Watch Dogs Legion trailer, Darby, which is one of those things where like, I just really want Watch Dogs Legion.
I kind of do too.
And I'm like, why is it coming out the same week as Final Fantasy VII? Darby, that old man.
I know.
Him being a badass and then it's like, might randomly die. Like... just dying.
I mean, like, the marketing in this game has been top notch. Whether this game lives up to its own hype or not is another thing. But like, at least the marketing, like the way that they're selling.
Here's the thing: I feel like, with the marketing thing, they are prepping you for what it actually is reasonably, even if it's not necessarily in the trailers. When they're talking about the different characters, I think they said in interviews and stuff, there are so many character archetypes, and then there's a male and female version for them. And all that kind of stuff. So each one of them have different voices. There are going to be some overlaps as far as the characters and story and stuff. I feel like they're doing a good job of going ahead and setting that up and not necessarily giving you false hope necessarily of what this game could be. Like every character has a complete unique story. It's completely different in every way, shape, or form.
But there is still going to be a lot of them, obviously.
Yeah, there are going to be a lot of them, and they all kind of have their own stories and all that kind of stuff. And
I mean, this is one of those things I want more than anything for this to live up to. And I'm not saying it won't. I'm saying right now things are looking pretty good. But I do still think this is a super experimental concept that I'm so glad they're going for. But like, this isn't like, don't pre-order this game. Like, this is not a pre-order game. This is a game that like this could still mess up. Like, I mean, like, they're getting us with these trailers because they're funny and really well made trailers. Like, they're expertly well made. Like, Watch Dogs has now gone from something that kind of people forget about to
or mocked to this kind of demand your attention. Like, whether even if you're cynical about Watch Dogs, it's hard to watch these trailers and not laugh. The Watch Dogs saga is pretty interesting because it started out with the whole kind of false promises with one, people being kind of disappointed, but it's still selling really well, and then getting okayish reviews, but again not living up to expectation. The two coming out not selling as well, but being received so much better, partly because of its tone. And this game doing whole new things, but and also taking that fun tone and turning it to 11.
Yes.
It's the right way to go, and I'm glad they are doing it. Yeah, I'm hoping they succeed. Like, this will be a game that I'm going to, if they nail it, I'm not going to give this day one because it's just around too many things. But it's going to be a game I'm looking forward to finally getting to all next year until I finally.
Well, it's also like, I feel like Watch Dogs just inherently is not the most unique game, and I'm like, not every game needs to be super unique, but just Watch Dogs as a concept, just the kind of open world, I don't know, Ubisoft game. I mean, it's a lot like that, whatever. So just for them to kind of see like, okay, we have a tried and true formula for a game, like just the way it feels and everything else, and the gadgets and all of that, it works. It's simple. It's not that flashy. It's not that eye catching, but like, it works. What can we do with this? Like, and I do think there's probably a lot of reused models and stuff from 2, but that probably allowed them to be like, all right, let's just like take an idea and run with it. And I could see this being when this game was pitched at first. They're like, how are you gonna do this?
Yeah.
Like,
I think this game started development in 2015, so that was before 2 even came out.
yeah. I mean, no, I am super, super stoked. I just want to I'm not going to be completely sold on this game 100%
until you hear it being in people's hands. And no, that's completely fair.
It's super experimental, which is great, but that also means that it could we could still get to the point where it's like all of these stories feel kind of half baked because there's just too many of them.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna need to get a lawyer on my side.
Man, again, just everyone needs to study those trailers because they're so well made.
Yeah, so good. And they realize what gets us: old people being crazy and doing silly things.
That's good. And we talked about personality, like that.
Yeah,
Watch Dogs Legion has personality. It's good.
It does. Unlike 1.
Yeah.
Okay, Dari, we're getting to the final presentation of Gamescom, or at least the opening night or whatever, called Gamescom Opening Night Live, which is the presentation led by Jeff Keighley.
What did you think about the first ever Opening Night Live?
I enjoyed it a lot. I think it had some a good mix of games, some that new. Maybe we can biggest thing we can say about it, negative is the new games. They weren't really big, huge. Yeah. But they're games that people can recognize. At least some people get excited about. They had some updates for games people really like and all that kind of stuff.
Overall, I have to say I was a little let down by it. I mean, not a lot let down, just a little. There was definitely things to be excited about, but it just felt like there were a lot of trailers. Like there was a lot of my pet peeves when it comes to these live shows and everything where either the trailers for the new games like showed so little that you left not even knowing what the game was, where it's like, okay, I know the title of your game now, so what? And so that felt pointless. Or the few ones that did have gameplay, they felt like so short and so stunted that it was like, all right, well, I didn't get a whole lot. And then there was a ton of developer interviews that amounted to nothing. It was literally just like 2 words back and forth, and it's like, oh, your game looks cool. Yep, it's pretty cool. When's it coming out? It's coming out and then. All right, bye. And like none of those developer interviews aside from Kojima's felt like they had any substance, and they all just kind of felt like wasted time, you know. And they were very scripted PR, like fluffy stuff that really just didn't need to be there. We could have just went game, and made this like 30 minutes shorter. So I don't think it's not Keeley's best as far as a well put together show, in my opinion. I'm a lot more excited for the Game Awards.
I really believe that he's put it together to show off Death Stranding.
I mean, yes, that's obviously what he was here for. Yeah. And just like, I don't know, like the caliber was not quite there. Like you even think about the biggest things, and it's like, you know, I know this is like a mid-year show on a kind of off year of game announcements, but I think things could have been done better. Like I a little bit, like I wouldn't have continued watching this if it wasn't for this podcast. I would have just looked at the trailers online, which I think would be the preferable way of doing this. And I don't say that about the Game Awards. So, but we can get into it.
I guess first thing we're kind of about the Kerbal Space Program 2 coming 2020 to PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
I know this is very big for other people.
This is very big for other people.
Never cared about Kerbal Space Program. I don't think you have either, have you?
No.
Nah.
But you know what I do care about, Darby?
I think I do.
Little Nightmares 2, baby. This was a nice surprise.
I'm sure you didn't at all. Like there was no reason to expect this was coming.
And when we were talking about potential like Bandai Namco games being shown here, I didn't expect this.
That's a Bandai Namco game?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, this was a Bamco game show because they announced that they were going to be here, and this was the game.
Nice.
Yeah. I definitely did not expect this.
Does it look like, from the little bit we saw, does it have you hyped?
Yes, it does. It's still creepy. The new character designs, they're different things because you were kind of trapped within like one building in one, but now you're outside. You have a little partner, so like I think they confirmed co-op, and they also showed a little bit of combat.
Yeah.
They said in the developer interview, which, you know, you were talking about developer interview stuff, and I agree with you for the most part. But that's one of those things. I'm kind of glad they did that little tidbit to kind of clarify it, that there's going to be very little of it in there because it doesn't completely go with the vibe of Little Nightmares. So that's good. So I am hyped for this game. It's coming next year. So yeah, character designs look creepy, as they should.
Yep, I need to play the first one.
I got a physical copy, so you can just borrow mine.
Nice.
So yeah, next thing, which I was very curious about once we heard that it was actually going to be there, is Predator Hunting Ground. We got the gameplay reveal, and Darby, it looks pretty jank.
Oof.
Looks pretty jank.
It looks like, I mean, I hate to say it, it looks like the Friday the 13th team just doing it again, where it's like a kind of janky game. Like, it's probably going to be at least, you know, fun for a little while. But also, I can promise you it's going to have the same network issues. It's going to be a busted mess. Like, people couldn't even play Friday the 13th for months when it came out. And I honestly, like, just looking at this, I'm not expecting...
It's early alpha or whatever gameplay. It's 2020. It's probably going to be late 2020 maybe. So they still have plenty of time to work out kinks. But what they showed was not very inspiring. And not that I expected much more just based on the concept, but the shooting from the regular people just looked very generic, which, you know, expected. I guess that's fine. Apparently, I didn't know this. It's the way it works is you're a group of human players controlling one faction of soldiers fighting against a computer-controlled faction of soldiers.
Yeah, I did see that.
While also fighting a human-controlled predator.
There's a lot going on. Okay, I was confused when the trailer started out and it was people fighting people. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, that makes sense. But the weird thing is, I heard something about the groups of people being controlled by computers. I'm like,
so could the computers win?
I guess. Hopefully that's something, one of those things. It can't be controlled by computers, but also, there's a mode for people as well. So it's kind of a three faction thing.
Yeah,
which could be cool.
Which could be cool, yeah. This feels like only if it's on Game Pass game.
But it's PlayStation only.
Then we'll never play it. Only if it's PlayStation Plus game.
Probably. Oh, no. I have no interest in this.
I mean, I wouldn't say no. I'll goof around with you and Alex in there or something one night, and we'll see if we can get any enjoyment out of it. But
I mean, that's only if, again, like you said, play the
PlayStation Plus.
I don't interest in getting this on my own.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Yeah,
no, not spending a dime on it. No.
Yeah. But Darby, microtransactions. I gotta pimp up my Predator.
Give your Predator a grill, some chains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Got a cool Monster Hunter Iceborne trailer, blah, blah, blah. Announced was it a new game? The Cycle Early Access starts now on Epic Game Store. I forget. What's that game?
Like the Battle Royale type game?
I believe it was.
Yeah.
Not exactly Battle Royale, apparently.
Or was that the PvE, PvP, whatever?
Yes. It was.
PvP.
Or is that Disintegration? I'm getting these games mixed up.
I think Disintegration was the one that just had like... I remember not being interested in either of them, but...
I'm getting these games mixed up. Okay, next thing. Humankind 2020. This is the new Sega game. It had the caveman in space playing on the synths.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's like, this looks cool. Then it went to actually games like, oh, it's just kind of the normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it straight up looked like the Geico caveman. Like, it looked like the exact, whatever costume they use.
Kind of out there for a Sega game.
That's why I was kind of confused.
Surprised it wasn't Sonic,
Hey, it wasn't.
Yeah.
I was wrong. I'm sorry, Joe.
Yep. Kind of like a strategy thing, game thing.
And just in case you weren't tired of it,
Borderlands 3, baby! Which apparently was like an in-game reveal thing. I don't know. I kind of wasn't paying
I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention to it. I mean, I legitimately think the game looks good, but I am tired of seeing it's like it just come out already.
Yeah. We're almost there, Darby. Next game. Darby, this game's special for one reason. It's our first confirmed 2021 game. Everspace 2. PC, PS4, Xbox One. This one looks cool. Not necessarily my thing, but it looks cool.
I'm forgetting what all is.
You're going through space and you're shooting all that stuff. It looks very pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, not necessarily our thing, but looks cool. I know a lot of people like Everspace, so that's a big deal.
2021. That just sounds like a future year.
Yeah. It doesn't sound real, Darby.
I know.
They should stop saying that number. Next thing, Witcher 3 Switch, baby. I got the roller coaster of emotions with this because I just see the Switch thing. I'm like, then I see it's The Witcher. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, the trailer succeeded in one thing. It made me want to play Witcher again. But on the other hand, it looks like poop because it's gonna look like poop. It looks horrible. And I saw so many people saying hey, it doesn't look. It looks good. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Now, I will say,
are you kidding me?
I've seen people, Imran Khan being one of them, who played the game, and it's like, it runs fine.
Passable.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I said. It's like,
best.
It's kind of like, this is by far the, least good way to play this game. But if this was your only option, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, but
this is not a great endorsement.
There's a lot of people that's not their only option. I mean, play how you want to play, but I definitely don't want to see people say I don't know, Witcher has a lot of problems or whatever. It's like, go play something. I mean, to be fair, they're putting out the version. They should be able to support it, but yeah, you wouldn't catch me dead paying money for that version.
You don't want to pay $60? Is it $60? I don't know. I'm just assuming it's $60.
It might be like 50 or 40, but I don't know.
Oh yeah. Next game, a new one, Disintegration, coming out next year. It's that one where that guy was kind of talking to his bike and kind of with this guy. Yeah. Another thing is with a lot of this stuff, Darby, a lot of these new IPs, a lot of them can be like generic looking shooters to me. I'm like, oh, you lost me.
Mm-hmm.
Give me my generic anime games. Okay, next thing, a game I am actually very interested in. I'm surprised this should have probably been in the Stadia's thing. Guilt, which is a Stadia exclusive. It's that horror game with that little girl.
Oh yeah.
This game looks cool, and this
why wasn't that one in there? Wasn't in their previous one or something?
It was.
Yeah, the Tequila Works, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I am very interested in this game. This will probably be why I try Stadia to begin with. but be my own first Stadia game.
Yeah.
Try out. Yeah. It's coming out this year, but we won't be able to try it until next year unless we pay out $130.
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about it, but Stadia did that whole thing again where they made it sound like you have to pay for the thing in order to play when you really don't. You just need to play this year.
Yeah.
But it kind of was like, I don't know, it was weird.
And we're almost sold out in a couple countries.
Yeah. It's almost like they want to fool some people into paying that. But yeah, this game does look cool.
Yep.
It does look pretty cool. It was a cool horror game. Obviously, we need to see a whole lot more. I mean, that was another one of those gameplay trailers that was like, it was just like one little section. It's like, I want to see some more hooks of this
I think it was a pretty good.
No, it was good. It was good.
One. Showing the puzzles, showing the monster designs look cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of horror games, Remothered Broken Porcelain coming out next year. So apparently, horror game I did not hear of. Apparently, a lot of people liked it, including Michael Huber. Really liked it, and so this got him hyped. So that's cool.
Don't remember which one that was, but just move
on. Epic Games Store montage. Bam, 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 bam.
And pissing off so many people, I'm sure.
Yep, one game at a time. Next, Erica, which was a Shadow Drop. This is a game made a comeback.
It's a live action.
Yes, it's the FMV.
Quantum Break gaps in the background.
Yeah, if you got Shadow Drop, I think Easy Allies are playing it right now.
It's one of those things that I could see being good, but I think the very more likely thing is that it is bad.
I'm going to watch Easy Allies play it, and that's how I'm going to enjoy it from it.
Yeah. Especially just I don't know. This is weirdly enough, this is one of the games that the fact that it shadow drops makes me worry about it. But it seems like a very experimental, weird game, and like I'm just worried the acting's gonna be bad. So it's gonna be almost like a Quiet Man type thing.
Yeah. So here's the thing, Darby. They announced this game like years ago.
Which I didn't know about.
Yeah, with PlayLink. They didn't mention PlayLink, but apparently it still supports PlayLink. PlayLink's dead, Darby. That's what we're really getting at. So yeah. Then they talked about the biggest news of the thing.
Tell me, are you interested in Erica? You didn't say anything about it.
Like I said, I'm just gonna watch Easy Allies play, and that'll be it. I'll get enjoyment out of that, and yeah. As far as like,
it's an interesting concept.
Yeah. As far as story choice games, we got Man of Medan this month.
Yeah. But it is like I don't think there's many of those where it's like literally it's like a TV show you're watching, but you're making decisions and they filmed it for like every thing.
Darby, you keep on delaying the biggest thing.
I mean, I just want to talk.
Fucking Farming Simulator League. I didn't know that was a thing. That's funny. Okay,
get Overwatch League out of here. We don't need it. Build some stadiums for the farming.
And Darby motherfucking Sabaton. When the guy came up and went over there, I was like, that guy looks familiar. Then he was like, oh yeah, that's where he is. He's not wearing like army pants and stuff, so I didn't recognize him. That's cool.
Apparently they got Sabaton. Lucky Gamescom, I guess.
Yeah, apparently they've been there multiple times and they play show.
Yeah, he said like when we were here a few years ago. I'm like, oh,
I want to see Sabaton again. Oh, okay. Some other announcements that don't really interest us. Blah blah blah. And then finally they end.
Well, this is how we'll probably close out the show.
Yeah. They talk about the game everyone wants to know more about, but we'll never know more about because no one understands more about it.
Even when we finish it, we won't know more about it.
And that game is motherfucking Death Stranding. I think Jeff Keighley went on a little strong with his love of Kojima a little bit. Did a little montage that he made sure to let people know that he edited himself.
You can kind of tell that he edited himself. Like, I like, this is all in good fun that we're about to say or whatever, but just especially just from the outside watching all this, Jeff's love of Kojima like is definitely like borderline creepy. It's like,
hey, it worked out. He's in a game.
He got in the game. But yeah, that cut where it's just like these weird edits and like zooming in at people's faces, it almost seems like it was like a forensic files. It's like leading up to like Kojima's murder or he kidnapped Kojima or something. It's just, I would do anything for this man. Yeah, that was funny.
Then Kojima came out and unsurprisingly, this was the longest section of the whole thing. I think it was like 25, 30 minutes.
It's a Keeley show. Like, Kojima gets as long as he wants.
I kind of don't want to see Jeff Keighley's
Keighley,
face.
He's been talking for 2 hours. We have to stop. Like, no, you let him go.
Kojima's the best man I ever met. I'm kind of scared to see Keeley's face when Death Stranding probably doesn't win Game of the Year.
He runs out there. He's like, no, this is my show. This is my show.
It's Death Stranding, damn it.
Death Stranding's the best game ever made.
You bastards. I'm going to find out who didn't vote for it and ban them.
So Jeff, let's be real. Okay, let's get real for a second. We've had some fun here. We've had some laughs. Let's get real. Death Stranding has been a gigantic, elaborate scheme from Kojima to make us watch Norman Reedus piss on the stage.
It's true,
and that has been the entire purpose of Death Stranding.
It's been worth it.
Yeah, that's how do you feel about Death Stranding? This is our Death Stranding review.
We have been Death Stranded.
We like. I don't think there's many people who have the power and the sway to have Norman Reedus piss on a stage and have an entire crowd cheer and everyone online celebrate watching Norman Reedus piss on the stage. And I kind of like respect Kojima.
Gotta respect the hustle.
For like he got Sony to pay him millions of dollars to have Norman Reedus piss and grow a mushroom.
Yeah.
I gotta respect the hustle.
Gotta respect the hustle. So the way this whole thing went, there are multiple Death Stranding trailers they showed.
It's a lot of stuff.
They started with the Mama trailer and kind of describe what her character is, which is her baby is on the side of the dead, but is connected by an invisible umbilical cord, so she cannot leave the place where she is. And apparently because of the fact that the baby is connected by a umbilical cord, she produces breast milk a lot, and then Kojima had her rub her own boobs.
Yep.
Kojima's letting his fetishes show again.
Yeah. I think there's gonna be some weird shit in this game, like as far as just Kojima's weird like fetishes and things like that. Yeah. Because apparently the baby can't drink the milk, but she produces it anyway, or whatever. Yeah. This was a trailer. Like this was like a Gamescom trailer. This is like a big Sony game coming out or whatever, and it was advertised.
It is the Sony game.
It was advertised with invisible breastfeeding and pissing and growing mushrooms. Like again, I respect him, but go for it.
Yeah. So that Mama trailer happened, and then we got the Bridge Baby and Dead Man trailer. Where we got to see Guillermo del Toro's character, and
his voice is weird
because it's not him.
I know, it's just weird. It doesn't seem to fit all that much to me.
And Norman Reedus' character was taking the baby to a thing to recharge it or something. I don't know. Or something to connect it to its brain dead mother, which is in a city, and I guess what kind of explains the point of what you're supposed to do with the babies, and you take the way these babies work is apparently they're taking from the womb of brain dead mothers, but it's also kind of like, why are the mother's brain dead? How'd that happen? Should be okay. Death Stranding, man. And then I guess they recharged the baby. The baby was happy, and Dead Man's like, don't get attached, boy.
Yeah, we gotta kill those things.
We can't let them get past a year. They might become sentient.
He pretty much straight up said, like, we don't really know what we're doing with these things either. Like,
yeah, it's Kojima's way of saying I'm just making shit up as I go.
So I'll have to.
And you suckers will eat it up.
Yep. And then, I mean,
we got the gameplay reveal.
Yeah, and I mean,
and they start off the gameplay with Norman Reedus pissing.
That's literally how it starts.
They made it clear, though, you can't see his pee-pee.
The fact that on a stage, like on a big stage like this, like Kojima was explaining about how Norman Reedus will turn so that you can't see his dick, and they had to find a way. Like he turns so you can't see what he's doing. Yeah, that sounds like that. We could say that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so funny. But jokes about peeing and directional peeing and using pee as a weapon. Just jokes about all that aside. Which honestly, I wish we could just make jokes about that the entire podcast. I've yet to see this game in a gameplay setting where anything going on looks fun.
It's kind of weird. Okay,
it's yet to happen.
So here's the thing. I don't really disagree with you. But we haven't seen a crazy amount of gameplay. It seems to be being cagey about it, which is a problem for potentially one of two reasons. It's one that for some reason they're keeping the gameplay a lot of the key gameplay away from us, which is its own problem. Or two, walking around is the majority of the gameplay, which may not be not necessarily bad because you did a lot of that in Breath of the Wild, but there are a bunch of other different stuff going on and all that.
Yeah, I mean,
and this it seems like you're just kind of walking, not really doing much. Sometimes bringing up ladders and meeting a holographic Jeff Keighley at a Jeff Keighley's your towers.
Yeah, the acting wasn't very good in that either. But
it's Matthew Mercer.
I know, but it didn't sound good. I'm just saying it didn't sound good.
They added Keighley at literally the last second.
Yeah, they might have. But yeah. I mean, it depends on the context. There's definitely a way that it could be like that, and it's like a shorter game, and it really is just an experience.
But
like,
it's an open world game.
That's what, like, I mean, we have no freaking clue. We've seen a lot.
We're 2 months away.
Like, as far as like what we are actually doing or how the game works, like no one really knows, and it's just kind of one of those things. Like, I guess we'll just see when it comes out at this point. Like, I don't think that we're really gonna know, which is kind of concerning. But like, I do think there's a way this game could play out to where even the kind of dull things we've seen aren't that big of a deal. But me just looking at the marketing and all I have to go off of is the gameplay they've shown. Again, just none of it looks like something I'm like, yeah, I want the controller in my hand right now. You know, it's all been kind of walking around, putting up some ladders, making some flashy things. It's weird, and I'm intrigued. But there's still just
the marketing is less making you want to play and more like, hey, give me those cutscene compilations.
I want to watch someone stream it. I want to watch the full playthrough. But there is like no universe where I spend $60 from this unless something changes a lot. And like, I don't know. I'm just not as in. I'm not even as into the weird cutscenes as everyone else seems to be. I mean, like, I'm intrigued by them, but I really I really don't know how much this is going to amount to. Like, The
more I'm thinking about it, the more it's like I'm seeing myself less and less getting this game. Especially when we have stuff like Greedfall announced, where I'm like,
well, damn, there's a full game that we want to play.
It's like, there's that game that adds the list of the game, and Death Stranding so much of a question mark. It's like, it's kind of like saying, I'm not no matter how the game turns out, the way they decide to show the gameplay, whether it was stuff from the E3 last year or whatever, or the stuff they shown, and this gameplay is not smart. Even if whether it's representative of the gameplay or not, if it is representative of the gameplay, that's just bad in general for the game probably. And if it's not, then what are you doing? Show us fight. Like, the most interesting thing they could have done with the gameplay, showing it off, I guess they just wanted to do something that leads to the Keighley reveal, I guess. I don't know. But what would have been better is Sam getting killed by something and then going to the land of dead and doing stuff there.
Yeah, we've yet to see that. We
saw some of it in trailers.
Yeah.
But it was very minimal, and we don't completely get it. We understand, I guess, a little more what's going on with all these cutscene stuff, but not really, because now that whole mama thing is like, what the fuck is this?
Just the pee. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, what am I watching? Yeah, and I think there's just no denying that this game has had to ride completely on Kojima and the Kojima hype. Like, if this was just some random game that we had seen, even if it was this is a new Sony game coming out, but it didn't have Kojima behind it and that whole saga, there would be a lot of people who are positive about it now who would not be positive. Like, this game would be.
I agree 100%. I feel like now, just reading stuff, I feel like the public opinion of this game is starting to shift some, but not for the better for the game, because it's getting more like, okay, now that we've seen some gameplay and we're 2 months out or whatever, it's kind of like this. I mean, this is all you're kind of showing us for the gameplay. The whole weird thing can only take you so far, and now the weird stuff is getting to the point where it's sounding more and more like it might be weird for weird's sake.
Yeah, and I think the length of time that we've been hearing about this game is another big problem with just public perception, because I think if it was this weird artsy game that we just heard about a year beforehand and then saw like minimal stuff, and then it's like, oh, it's coming out, oh shit, it's coming out now or whatever, and it was fresh and everything. But it's like we've been riding on the Death Stranding so weird, like Kojima, he's such a weird dude or whatever, for so long now that like I'm kind of exhausted by the, we just don't understand Death Stranding. I mean, we do it too, but I'm just kind of exhausted by us saying that over and over again. It's like at some point there has to be a game. Like,
I agree. We've been doing that, but I feel like kind of with us, I mean, kind of with this conversation,
we're making fun of it. But
yeah, we're kind of more now where we're kind of leaning towards this isn't, we need more than that now. It's fine when we were getting a couple trailers and we know you were early on or whatever. I legitimately
coming out in 2 months.
I legitimately feel like, based on what we know from this game, for a lot of people, the marketing for this will be more fun to a lot of people than the actual game.
Me,
yeah.
But even the marketing's not as fun to me anymore.
I mean, I'm just talking about in general.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I hate to be so pessimistic about it, because it might end up being cool. I mean, again, there's just such a wide array. I mean, I think the answer is it's going to be simultaneously both. To some people, it's going to be really cool. To other people, they're going to hate it.
Yeah.
It's just how it's going to go.
And no matter how much people hate it, still win Game of the Year, the Game Awards. That is kind of a weird kind of dilemma thing as far as the Game Awards stuff. Like, the host and guy behind it's in the game that could be nominated.
I mean, as long as I don't think Keeley has a vote or anything. So, I mean,
yeah, that's true.
It's not like Keeley. I mean, if Keeley just hijacked the show and made it happen, then that would suck. But like, it seems like that would get exposed pretty easily, because there's an entire voting board, and I think it could pretty quickly get to be like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
So I don't think it's that big of a deal. If it was Keeley part of the decision making, that might be worse. But at least it's not weird to me, at least. I don't know. I'm so morbidly curious to see how this whole thing ends, how this goes. But yeah, we'll see. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. That's been our episode. I need to go home and go to bed. But yeah. Well, what'd you think of Gamescom overall, Jeff?
But it's pretty good. Obviously, wasn't going to be as big as E3. We got some nice game announcements, even if most of the actual announcements were smaller games. We got some nice game updates, and we got turned on to a couple games that are already announced that we're more interested in now. So that's always a positive.
Yep.
And we got to getting to see more gameplay and stuff for games that we already knew about, like Avengers, even if we're more negative on it. And maybe by the next podcast, we'll have that Cyberpunk demo that we can watch, and we will analyze it and talk about it for like an hour.
Mm-hmm. Of course we will. Maybe you can get back on, Jacob. I know you're listening. Come talk about Cyberpunk with us. Bang, bang. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.